Let's talk to Gerald Howarth, Sir Gerald Howarth, I should say, former Conservative Defence Minister. Sir Gerald, very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mike.
Greetings of the season. I'm sorry to say that this country is going further and further down into the depths of despair with this bleeding awful government of ours. I don't know how much worse they can get, but I'm sure they're going to keep trying. Keir Starmer was out in Estonia yesterday. Nobody's quite sure why he was there, but we think it was something to do with Nato.
It certainly was. He was there with the Joint Expeditionary Force, which is a 10-nation partnership.
Right.
Which is particularly focused on the northern Nordic countries.
Yes,
I mean, to protect the northern flank of Europe from Russia.
Yes, and Estonia's Prime Minister apparently said to him that if you want peace, you have to prepare for war.
Well, that is absolutely correct, and that's not just applicable today. Of course, it is especially poignant today. But it's applicable at all times. So without strong defence, without presenting any potential aggressor with a deterrent, then you are putting your people at risk. And that is what has happened over the last couple of years, when we have seen the naked aggression by Putin's Russia as he seeks to rebuild the old Soviet Union. We cannot say we were not warned. We were warned in 2014 when he annexed that part of Ukraine, which is Crimea. We did nothing about it. He was able to act with impunity, and he's taken advantage of our weakness.
Yes, and I mean, unfortunately, that was during the time of a Conservative government. So why didn't they do something?
You're quite right. I mean, I did say in the House of Commons, I was chairman of the All-Party Ukraine Group, and I did ask our then Foreign Secretary, William Hague, what assurances he'd had from Russia's appalling Foreign Minister, Lavrov, that Russia would not resort to military means in its pursuit of Crimea. And answer from the Foreign Secretary at the time came there, none. So there's no doubt about it. This is not just this Labour government. But, of course, it is true that when Putin launched his aggression on Ukraine, it was thanks to Boris Johnson, our then Prime Minister, that the West was galvanized into some form of more positive response. But it has been characterized throughout since February 2022 by prevarication, indecision, too little, too late, as European leaders, and I include the United States in this as well, all NATO leaders have navel-gazed and, oh, we can't provoke Russia. Well, Russia's been the provocateur throughout this whole business. And of course, they're in flagrant breach of the agreement that they themselves signed in 1995, along with John Major for Britain and Bill Clinton for the United States, assuring Ukraine, in return for giving up its entire arsenal of nuclear weapons, that its sovereignty, independence and existing borders in 1995 would be respected. So Russia is in flagrant breach of an agreement it signed itself.
But where does this all go, though, Sir Gerald? Because at the time of the invasion, obviously it was very shocking and everybody was kind of like, you know, sure that they wanted to support Ukraine. But now the feeling is it's been going on for a very long time. It doesn't appear to have any kind of end in sight.
Well, we have two options, Mike. It's very clear. Either we say, there's nothing we can do about this. We'll have to accept that Russia, supported by North Korean conscripts and supported by Iran as well, two rogue states. Either we just give in and say, well, Zelensky, you'll have to surrender the territory that Russia has taken. Alternatively, bearing in mind what the consequences of such a decision will be, namely that it will embolden not only Putin, but other tyrants around the world. Ergo, Putin would either go for Moldova or perhaps seek to create a Russian corridor between Belarus and its enclave on the Baltic of Kaliningrad. So don't imagine that just giving in to Russia would settle things. It would not. Alternatively, we get ourselves together and we seek to rout the invader and drive them out of that bit of a sovereign state which they have annexed. And these are uncomfortable choices. But I have to say that the Secretary General of NATO is absolutely right, Mark Rutte, former Prime Minister of the Netherlands, when he said that NATO has to adopt a war mindset. And that's the same as the Estonian leader has said, And if I may say, Mike, your viewers also need to understand that we have got now to prioritise defence. We have an opportunity with a very good man in charge of the Defence Review, not a Tory, Lord Robertson, former Labour Defence Secretary, former Secretary General of NATO. He's in charge of that review. And it's an opportunity for this government to step up. And Mike, if you would allow me, there's a great man called Guy Gibson. And your viewers may remember that Guy Gibson, Wing Commander Guy Gibson, VC, DFC, was the man who led the Dam Busters raid during the Second World War in 617 Squadron. He wrote in his book, "It rests with the people themselves, for it is the people who forget. After many years, they will probably slip and ask for disarmament so that they can do away with taxes and raise their standard of living. If the people forget, they bring wars on themselves, and they can blame no one but themselves." Wing Commander Guy Gibson said that.
Well, I mean, you could also blame a series of Conservative defence secretaries who've not had enough money to spend on defence, or various different chancellors. But we've got to run. Sir Gerald, we must talk about this again. Thank you very much indeed. Gerald Howarth, former Conservative Defence Minister.